Buy every share of this stock you can. I'm not a financial advisor, but some financial advisors might say to buy as much as possible before December 1st. The stock is ticker symbol ISRG, Intuitive Surgical, and they're essentially the humanoid company of today. They're already doing a lot of procedures with their robotic assisted medical devices. There's another company, 3M, that you've heard of. They make the adhesives, tape, and they're a chemicals company. So they're a little slower moving, and they're also at a very favorable spot. So let's jump in a little breakdown on these two companies. This is not financial advice, but hope it helps.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
All right, guys. So again, going with a free flow video just to see if these people even watch these or what people want. I can't figure out YouTube right now. I did make the videos longer, like 15 minutes instead of 8 minutes, and then I have 3 videos a day instead of 6. I figure 6 is probably way too many that people want to watch per day. 3 is already a lot. But at least if someone can watch 1 out of the 3, then YouTube might favor it. I have no idea what's going on with YouTube. But I've got videos getting like 8 views, so something's up. This is Intuitive Surgical, $2 billion, revenue up 30%, 20% year over year. And this is the company. I know I should just make the videos better and stop complaining, but I guess this is just a test. So here's the company. It looks like a flag. I'm being kind of low effort here, but look, I mean, the thing is looking like it's going to maybe bounce here and then go up. And volume's drying off. Looks good. Here's the challenge right now is we just went up 6 days in a row or something like that. So I was looking at this period too earlier today to try to zone in on what can you expect after a market goes up 5 days. Because sure, we could run some sort of crazy data backtesting thing, which would probably be good. But recently, this is what we've seen. Pretty much the only stock that did well is LITE. So this is that period. So I think what's so interesting here is, again, ISRG is the company and MMM is the other company that I think are at great spots to buy. And I'll give the risk levels right here too, just to make sure I get those out. I think this is definitely a spot. So 580, if you can break to 580 something and then you risk 580, maybe you risk a couple dollars and make it go up. It goes up a lot. Otherwise, if it comes down to 560, like one of these moving averages, it's a 20-day moving average or whatever, this is 565, then you can risk 563 or something, and then it goes up from there and you risk $2, make 20. Those are some ideas. And then MMM, this might just go if the market gaps up on Monday or to Sunday futures, then this level's awesome, 172.25 you can just risk, or 172 on the dot, we'll say. If this fails, or doesn't fail, but just meanders down and forms a higher low, it's already formed one higher low, then maybe 168 and you risk 167 or something, some sort of level from here, 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 here. Maybe this high volume close actually is a pretty good level. Yeah, that's probably the best one. 168, you buy at 169, risk $1, make 10. So no, this is super boring, like numbers. It's a chart. I know everyone hates looking at someone else's chart, but the chart does show where buyers and sellers are at. And yeah, so 169 or 172 would be the levels I would risk. And it's probably going to come down a little because I don't think the same thing with ISRG. What's most likely to happen is this will come down a little Monday, Tuesday. Because, I mean, this is crazy. This is pretty crazy. Almost 5% maybe, depending from lows. I think it is actually 5% plus in a little over, week, 10 days. So anyway, we're still chopping around here for a couple months, really. And here's the deal. This is a period where we gapped up basically every day. This is a gap we see, but these are 24-hour candles, so I should just shut the heck up about the 24-hour candles and just use a normal daily chart and just be normal. All right, so here's the chart. Those are the gaps. And what's going on is when the market goes up significantly, this is the 23rd, okay? You expect all the big stocks to go up significantly then. And then the problem is, okay, so let's say it's the 22nd and you're trying to say, what stock do I buy? If you think, okay, and it's very hard to predict macro, right? It's hard to predict what the stock market as a whole is going to do. Obviously, otherwise we'd all be billionaires tomorrow. But if you can get a little edge, then you definitely want to be picking a stock that's a really large cap stock because it'll be more correlated with the market, right? Because the market is made up of stocks. Well, the market I'm talking about, the SPY, it's not equally weighted, so it's made up of it moves the most based on the biggest stocks. Or you could say the biggest stocks move the most based on when the market moves the most. Something like that, whatever makes sense to you, however you want to arrange it in your head. I like to arrange it in my head where, well, I kind of flip back and forth, I guess. But the point is, obviously on this day, the best stocks, I don't know about obviously, but the best stocks to pick in hindsight were the biggest stocks. So this is the 22nd, right? And when you look at all the biggest stocks, they went crazy, right? They compose the market composes them, whatever you want to call it. For the most part, besides ones that basically look like trash, which I kind of purposely picked this one because I know it's been going down recently and I wanted to see what it did during that period. But pretty much all the big ones had big runs after the 22nd. And if that run came into earnings, this is another thing I noticed, that was also a good move. Like Google kept going up. So Bloom Energy also, 22nd to 28th, and then earnings with a gap up. So actually, I mean, I guess you could say this was only day one. So the next days didn't really have an effect. So I don't know about that whole earnings theory I just said, but you definitely want to pick the big stocks because the small stocks, they don't really get affected by the market. So say you thought RGTI looked interesting for a bounce here. The market going up did nothing for this company. It's not correlated with the market. It's like 100 million market cap or whatever. It's actually not. It's like $1 billion market cap. But it doesn't have any revenue. Compared to AMD, it's nothing, right? It's a $10 billion. They have no revenue. It's a $10 billion market cap, but there's a lot of selling, so it just completely ruined that. So what is there to actually learn from this? Well, one other point, okay? So let's look at this day, 29th. So picking stocks here was also extremely difficult. Well, here is difficult, and here is also difficult, okay? Here being today. So it's difficult because if you go to AMD on the 29th, it just went down after that, right? NVIDIA just went down after that. Google, kind of an exception actually, but went sideways. So that's super relative strength. So if you do see a stock going sideways when the market's going down, even in a choppy way, that turns out to be a sign that this thing is going to go up at a later point. So that's important to notice, but you don't know that until the market's already gone down a lot. So, I mean, I guess you could say if the earnings were good, it was at the beginning of a breakout. That's sort of the theory I've got going with light, based. It went up during that period. Earnings were good. This is the beginning of a breakout, and then it was able to sustain. through that time when the market went down. So that's sort of the light Google hindsight analysis, which I hate to do, but I got to give you guys something at a time when it's pretty tough to pick what stock's going to go up on Monday. Not that these are one-day ideas, but I know that's kind of how ideas get judged, right? So it's difficult right now because we just went up a bunch. And also because a lot of speculative names aren't really, I mean, they're wrecked, right? We just looked at our GTI. We didn't look at where the stock ended up. It's all the way down here. So it going sideways when the market went up, that's relative weakness, right? Or beta to the market. It's not even having the beta. It's like negative beta. I don't know. Some market head could tell me exactly what the Greek word is for that. But alpha is something that other people don't know, right? And beta just follows the market. So beta is all the big companies like I just described. And I guess the opposite of that would maybe be whatever's going on here when this does not go up when the market goes up. But the point is, quantum's going nowhere. USAR, the rare earths, are doing nothing. They do not even have beta. They got negative beta. Well, I don't want to say negative because that would be opposite, right? If we put a negative in here, that's what actually would be opposite. We don't want to be confusing. They got nothing. And so a lot of the IPOs too, I mean, Circle, like maybe it had some bounce here, Figma had some curl up, but I'm not one to call bounces. I know there have been some opportunities, like calling a bounce in the trade desk here was great. I mean, you got this gap up on earnings, you're up 70% until next earnings when you're right back where you came from. So, and here again, a little bounce up, you did get 20%, but as long as you're viewing these as like 1 month to 2 month ideas, that's fine. But if not, you're really in trouble because then you're down 20%. These have just rolled over. And maybe Meta continues to move. There's definitely a lot of demand down here, but now it's definitely in no man's land. I already felt it was kind of in no man's land. I'm not sure any of this is worth buying. I mean, maybe when you see a candle of, this, it's almost like a 2%. I was thinking about SPY. Meta, the average daily range is more than SPY. So this is almost 3%. That's a big move. Maybe you risk the top of that and call that like a high volume close setup. Not that there's a ton of volume, but it's kind of like on an earnings day when the volume's big. You can, risk this level, something like this. I guess the close would be right here. So you'd be risking down here. And then you just can get a big move up, risking not a lot. So you can do that. But if you're risking here, you're up 4%. But I don't really want to be holding this. So I don't like the dip buys is all I'm saying. And there's a lot of companies that are sort of setting up. And I gave you the ones that I think are most interesting right now. Not Rigetti. I don't want to confuse anyone. But Intuitive Surgical and MMM. I've talked about others, Unity and AXTI as well, in recent videos. So those I think are most ready to go if you're just purely looking for an idea. And maybe purely looking at the chart or looking at your chart. But in all reality, I do think the market's going to pull back here. And, so I could give you some sort of inverse tricky thing stock to buy, tell you to buy not tell you to buy, but you know what I mean. Say PLTZ is an interesting stock to buy. It's not financial advice. These are just ideas, but maybe that'll bounce. I mean, That's the opposite of Palantir, right? So, or IONZ. But I don't want to get too tricky right now. I really just want to be real with you guys on a really basic level and say these look good, but you probably want to chill for like a couple days. I could be wrong, but December 1st is Monday, but you want to look at Sunday futures at least. So I would check in maybe midday Monday. So those are the ideas: Intuitive Surgical, ISRG, and AXT, ticker symbol AXTI. So if you like those ideas, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, hit that subscribe. You'll get a free course on how to buy stocks before they go up. And if you want to try out that $19 Cyber Monday deal, I'll see you in the Discord. See you in the next one.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.